Hello, you're playing The Waiting Game, the show that distracts you with substitute games, films, and other such stuff while we wait for the far more exciting main event. Much like how I'm here to distract you until Seb returns from his skiing holiday. Oh, I made myself feel bad. Well, you know what? Screw that. He's not the only one who can go off gallivanting. Let's show him by taking a trip of our very own. So, pack your bags, everybody. We're taking a trip to London for the Order 1886.
But, Cam?
Yes, Greg?
We're already in London.
Metaphor, Greg. Set in an alternative history Victorian London, the Order 1886 puts you in the rather fetching leather boots of 4 knights, tasked with keeping the world safe from a race of half-human, half-animal hybrids. The war between mankind and mutants has been raging for centuries, with the latter side generally having the upper hand, probably because it's got massive animal claws on it. However, thanks to the recent explosion of the Industrial Revolution, metaphor again, Greg, the scales have been tipped back in favour of the 100% humans. Mainly thanks to the production of an array of badass mechanical/supernatural weapons and technologies. As if the war between man and man-beast wasn't trouble enough, a new internal conflict has also arisen, a class war, with the poor repressed masses rebelling against the rich nobles. And as a member of the Order, it's your job to protect the well-to-do. The whole thing is looking rather promising, although we do have quite a weight on our hands, as we shouldn't really expect to see the release till the latter half of this year at the earliest. Fortunately for you then, I have the perfect game to consider if you're looking to immerse yourself in a bleak pseudo-Victorian setting. And what a game it is. Without doubt, one of my favourite releases of the last few years, Dishonored places you in the supernatural stealth assassin boots of Corvo Attano, former bodyguard to the Empress. Framed for her murder, you must exact your revenge on those responsible, one gruesome assassination after another. Or not, there's always a non-lethal option too. The game's setting is the city of Dunwall. Now, while it's not technically the British capital, it is heavily influenced by Victorian-era London, and also my home city of Edinburgh. Interestingly, the Dun in Dunwall presumably comes from Dunedin, the Scots Gaelic name for the city. Dunwall is undergoing a technological revolution of its own, driven by the industrial processing of whale oil. This freshly squeezed mammal juice has some distinctly supernatural qualities to it, and has led to the creation of a ton of advanced weaponry for the upper classes. This in turn has led to a class war which dominates life in Dunwall, with the poor increasingly ravaged by the deadly plague sweeping the city, while the rich noblemen and women sit safe in their fortified mansions. It's a ridiculously fun game that rewards experimentation and exploration, also stabbing people in the neck. I can't recommend it highly enough. If first-person stealth isn't your thing though, when you still find yourself hankering for the atmosphere of the Order, why not check out From Hell, the graphic novel that is. Don't bother yourself with a forgettable movie though, unless you have time for a comedy of accents from Depp and Heather Graham, who, at their most believable, sound like a couple of Mardy bookies.
What's your face?
Your vision's about me.
Most definitely.
But the graphic novel. Oh, the graphic novel is excellent. Based on the hand-penned letter of the same name, believed by many to be an authentic message from the Ripper himself, as transcribed by his faithful, albeit reluctant coachman, John Netley. The story follows the scandals and consequences of a secret and illegitimate royal baby. Queen Victoria hires a Freemason named Gull to silence all evidence of the tryst, allowing him legal immunity and a free license for his butcherly brand of assassinations. Who's going to bust the whole case wide open? A hearty combo of Abeline and Lees. As much as that sounds like a taxi service or a monthly veg subscription, the unlikely combination of Met Police Inspector and Psychic proves fairly formidable, and it isn't long until they're neck deep in conspiracy. Buy it, you won't feel ripped off. Get it? Ripped? Ripper? Because Jack the Ripper? Okay, movie time. Now, we're yet to get a good look at the Beastmen from the Order, but in the most recent cinematic trailer, we did get a glimpse of one of our furry friends. Now, if that's not a werewolf, I'll eat my metaphorical hat. Now, I know what you're thinking. That movie Wolfman sounds ideal, right? Well, no. It's rubbish. Distinctly less rubbish, however, and even more wolfy, is Dog Soldiers. Now, don't go into this film expecting pedigree cinema. This is an unashamed B-movie, but a B-movie helmed by Neil Marshall no less, the director responsible for The Descent, which was pretty damn good. Like The Descent, Dog Soldiers was filmed in Scotland. And whilst the former got its scares from the little ghouls underground, Dog Soldiers finds screams in the furry buggers above it. In a plot that throws a hard-as-nails British Army squad into what could be described as Goldilocks Cottage, you can imagine it's not light on the ridiculous, and most certainly doesn't cheap out on the thrills. If it's a taste of the third-person, cover-based shooting that we've seen in The Order that you're after, then I reckon your best bet is to check out The Last of Us. Now, this might seem like a bizarre recommendation, but if you take a close look at what we've seen from The Order's gameplay, it looks claustrophobic, frantic, and above all else, kind of brutal. Action in The Last of Us has this in spades. For the uninitiated, The Last of Us tells the combined story of Joel and Ellie, two survivors in a world ravaged by a deadly cordyceps fungal infection. The disease turns normally pleasant everyday folk into a variety of terrifying and violent zombie mushroom type things. Another good reason to suspect that these two games might have more in common than first glance suggests comes from an interview with one of the developers from Ready at Dawn. They commented that it was the feeling they had after completing Naughty Dog's other masterpiece, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, that inspired the development of The Order. Not that you should really need an excuse to play The Last of Us, to be honest. It's exceptional and one of the finest games of last year. Okay, last recommendation for you today is the 2002 Martin Scorsese epic Gangs of New York. Why? Well, it's not the foggy historical setting, the muskets, classic clothing and violence. No, it's the fact that one of the main protagonists is blatantly Daniel Day-Lewis. Look, no question. And there's no question that Daniel Day-Lewis is bloody fantastic, and a good enough reason to watch any of the films he's starred in.
And my challenge, by the ancient laws of combat, we are met at this chosen ground to settle for good and all. Who holds sway over the 5 points?
In this case, he plays Bill the Butcher, a fine-whiskered and sadistic overlord defending his territory from the Irish immigrant gang, the Dead Rabbits. Taking new recruit Amsterdam, played by Mr. DiCaprio, under his wing, he's unbeknownst to the fact that he is the son of an old and defeated rival in the throes of a long-awaited revenge plot. Much backstabbiness, both literal and otherwise, ensues.
I'm gonna paint Paradise Square with his blood.
So that's it for another waiting game. Let me know what you thought of this week's recommendations in the comments down below, or reach out to me on Twitter, why not, @CamFrazRob. Mr. Seb Ford will return next week, so I guess that's goodbye forever.